Hi everyone, welcome back to Random Signal with me, your host Marco. Today's question is, what is peer-reviewed science? So peer-reviewed science starts with scientists themselves. Scientists get together, perhaps in a group, a small team, a large team, and they develop a hypothesis or a question they want to answer in a particular field, for example. They do the research, meaning they do the science in the laboratory. That could be also, computational science based on, algorithms and bioinformatics. And they pretty much produce data. And what they do then is they find a journal. They find a journal in their field, which they can say, hey, great, this is the journal we want to publish this article in. Maybe it has a high impact, meaning the journal is quite renowned, like Nature or Cell, for example. And they pretty much follow the guidelines in that particular journal, and they send it to the editor. They write up the draft, they send it to the editor. The editor then gets that paper, and he or she distributes that to a bunch of other reviewers who are experts in that particular field. So what that does, it pretty much ensures that the commentary coming back, the feedback coming back from that article from the reviewers is, high class, first class knowledge in that particular field, so that the people who are reviewing that article and the science itself know exactly what they're talking about. They've had experience, they're industry experts in that particular field. Once that has been done, it gets sent back to the editor, and the editor sends it back to the scientists, the original team that wrote the science in the first place, or that discovered the science in the first place. And they pretty much work out the feedback. They unpack what's been said about their science. They might go back into the laboratory, do a few additional experiments, and then they might even reconfigure their entire experiment, their entire hypothesis, and they might come up with new hypotheses because the existing ones just didn't make sense. They weren't logical, for example. And that process goes on until the paper is accepted, meaning until the research has pretty much that stamp of approval. This is publishable, right? It's out there in the world. But until then, it goes through the motions of, going back and forth between scientists, between the editor, the reviewers, and then back to the scientists. And this can take many, many months. It's one of the reasons why on many academic, on all academic papers actually, you'll see, towards the top of the paper, when it was submitted, when it was reviewed, and when it was accepted. And usually between the time it was submitted to the time it was accepted, there are many months in between, sometimes 6, sometimes 7, 8 months. It can be a lengthy process. And this is, of course, to maintain the quality of science out there, meaning that, okay, it's difficult to publish in journals, in peer-reviewed journals, and it's even more difficult to publish in those top-notch, world-renowned journals that you can pretty much say every scientist wants to publish in. And so that is pretty much the peer review process in general. If you enjoyed this newfound knowledge about peer-reviewed science, please don't hesitate to subscribe to Random Signal on the button below. And thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you all soon with a new video. Thanks very much.